Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the talk on AMUL Cooperative Success Lesson for Malaysia. Our event will begin in a short while. This is a gentle reminder from the organizer. First, kindly have your mobile phone on silent mode throughout the ceremony. Kindly be seated during the occasion. In case of an emergency, please listen to the instructions and leave the hall in an orderly manner. Please evacuate by the nearest exit staircase. Your cooperation is highly appreciated. Thank you. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Paduka Dr. Fatimah Muhammad Rashad, holder of the Agriculture and Food Security Chair, University Putra Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Profesor Sukhpal Singh, our speakers today, representative from all government agencies and also ministries, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the talk on AMUL Cooperative Success Lesson for Malaysia. I would like to welcome all the participants either in online or physical in the hall. Without further ado, I would like to invite Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Paduka Dr. Fatimah Muhammad Rashad to introduce our speaker and give a welcoming remark. Without further ado, I would like to invite Prof to the stage. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Namaste. We are very lucky indeed, honored indeed to have Professor Sukhpal to come here all the way from India. And he had a conference in Surabaya, and he had volunteered, he had emailed me that he wanted to come to Malaysia, and he was willing to share some experience with regards to agribusiness as well as smallholder development. So I suggested that he talk about cooperatives, because agricultural cooperatives in Malaysia is yet or are yet to show optimum performance. Alright, before I move on, I would like to thank my dear research officers for the hard work in preparing for this talk. Akila, and of course staff from Academic Progress in Malaysia, as well as IDEC, as well as staff of Interface for making this event happen. Alright, why Professor Sukhpal here? Because Professor Sukhpal, I met him somewhere early in 2005, I think, in Hyderabad, and I was impressed with him. And from then on, he has moved on with his academic life, and he has achieved a lot in terms not only in publications but experience. This morning, he gave a talk to the University Keusahawanan Koperasi Malaysia, at the Institute of Koperasi Malaysia, Batam Jaya, and he has described the experiences with regards to policy decision in India, some successes, some problems, and also some innovations that they have come up with regards to cooperatives. Sukhpal can share with us the concept of farmer-producer companies, which runs on the cooperative principle, but at the same time operate in a private or business platform, which is very interesting. All right, let me give you the background of Professor Sukhpal. Very impressive series, I must say, not mentioning his books as well as his research papers. He is now a fellow at the Indian Society of Agricultural Economics since 2018, right? And he has contributed as well to the society, as well as president of annual conference of Indian Society of Agricultural Marketing for 2024. He is founding co-editor of Millennium Asia International Journal, as well as which is published by Sage. He has authored, co-authored, edited 15 books, and he's still young. Authored and co-authored more than 170 research papers in international and national journals. Right, very impressive, and more than 100 review articles in popular dailies and magazines. And visiting fellow at IDS Sussex, Brighton, UK, Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, Manchester, UK, Copenhagen Business School, Denmark. He has been a member of various committees with the government, as well as working groups on Indian government of India on agriculture, agribusiness, cooperatives, and all sorts of discipline relating to agriculture economics as well as development of smallholders. He teaches and researches agribusiness sector policy and practice issues from value chain and smallholder and worker perspectives. Right? So after listening to him this morning, I was really impressed with his knowledge and experience, and also based on his studies as well as his involvement with the issues, he was able to come up with some social innovations for the small farmers as well as cooperatives model. Maybe Sukhpal can share with us today. Using the current term, he is an influencer, not via TikTok, but influencer in terms of his ideas through his publication. And what I expect him to do today is to tell us how did India manage to unite the small farmers to be involved in cooperative and later to work as a federation and become the biggest cooperative in India, at the same time become the biggest exporter of milk in the world within a few decades. That is really magic. To me, that's really magic, because we Malaysia have been working hard to transform our cooperatives to be successful, and we're still struggling. All right. And also remember because of these cooperative movements, it has helped India to achieve some impressive results, right? I read some articles stating that in 1940s, India was described as basket case because they rely on import of food, and now they have become bread basket of the world. We want to know how India did it, particularly from the level 1 or at the farm level before it became big. What is the strategies? What are the secrets? Or what are the tactics that you guys implemented that attracted the small farmers? In Malaysia, we had problems in getting the farmers to work collectively, even in small numbers, or to work in a cooperative platform. And if you see the data, I think about 80% of the agricultural cooperatives are not earning adequate profits. So with that background, I'm more than happy and very appreciative indeed.
It's called Milk City of India, Anand, AMUL town. This institute is located there. I spent 12 years of my academic career, of first 12 years there. And that institute was set up to help AMUL get access to professional managers. So that institute trained fresh graduates as rural management professionals who could go and work in these milk cooperatives, not just with AMUL or in Gujarat, but also across Indian states, whether Bihar or Punjab or Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, and so on. And even this Producer Company Act I mentioned, its origins also date back to 90s, early 90s. There were four of us young faculty members there. We formed a working group on current issues, and we used to do this one-day workshops. And one of the workshops we did was on cooperative companies. We looked at the Western context and examples from there, North America and Europe and so on, saying how are they restructuring their cooperatives and still trying to grow and be dominant players in some of the markets. And from those discussions happened the Professor Y.K. Alag Committee with the guidance of Dr. Virkish Kurian, who was the chair of NDDB at that time, National Dairy Development Board. National Dairy Development Board, which was set up in 1965, played a key role in supporting Indian dairy sector in terms of its cooperativization. The dairy board chose to promote the dairy sector in India through the cooperative route. And AMUL, which originated in 1946 as a countermeasure to private dairy power in that town, later on becomes a model for others to follow. So this committee by Professor Alag on restructuring of corporate sector recommended that if you want cooperatives to do well, then they must be given adequate freedom from government interference and control to behave like business entities. So they recommended this concept of producer company, which you can also call as a cooperative company, where they retained most of the principles of cooperation. We know 6-7 principles given by ICA, International Cooperative Alliance. But they suggested that these should be registered as companies, not as cooperatives. They should be registered under the Companies Act, where all the business entities, whether Tatas or Birlas or Alliances and others, where they register to do business, the farmer should be allowed to register their companies under the same act. And the law of producer company or the act on producer company says that 10 or more farmers can set up a company and do any business, starting from input supply to procurement to export, import, and whatnot. So that has been, in some sense, a game changer in Indian policy and practice of cooperation, and I call it a legal institutional innovation. Yeah, it comes very close to the new generation cooperatives practice in the developed world. The only other South Asian country or Asian country which tried this idea much before India in the 1990s is Sri Lanka. They had farmers' companies, and their main promoter was the state, Sri Lankan state, and its departments went around organizing farmers and setting up these farmers' companies. But they could not even reach 100 before these companies started falling down. So that has been more a case of failure, but the Indian story seems to be more promising. And some of us feel that given that the farmers in India are really very small in terms of their land holding, the average size of a farm in India is just 1 hectare. Just 1 hectare, half of which may be dry land, that it may not be irrigated. 66% of the farmers operate, not necessarily own, less than 1 hectare of land. Another 22% operate 1 to 2 hectares. So we are talking about more than 85-86% of the farming community in India just doing 2 hectares or less of farming activity, with all the other constraints they suffer from, whether irrigation or lack of credit or lack of markets or whatever. So some of us feel that this restructuring of the collectivization of farmers into producer companies is a very big opportunity if we want to really help small farmers to survive and grow in globalized world. And we also at the same time feel that if we are not able to make a success out of it, we don't know what alternatives are left for small farmers, because we have tried everything else. We have tried all kinds of collectives, all variants of cooperation. India even tried cooperative farming. I know they are aware, in the 1950s, after freedom, after independence, for about 5 to 10 years, the government tried to encourage or promote cooperative farming, where farmers should come together and do farming as a joint activity by merging their farm boundaries and so on. It was a big failure. It's just non-starter. There's only one surviving case of this cooperative farming society in Gujarat, which survives because there is a condition in supporting them, that the land which they are cultivating is given by the government. And these communities are told that if you do not do it collectively, we will take away the land. So that is the only surviving case, which is very close to AMUL town. Again, it is just about 15-20 kilometers away from AMUL. So there have been no success in the cooperative farming sector. And I believe and show with evidence that there is no case for collectivization in the production sector. That Indian small farm is the most efficient and most productive unit. The smallest farm size in India, that is less than 1 hectare, produces the highest value of net output per acre or per hectare or per unit area. So when there is no inefficiency there, why do you want people to come together, merge their land boundaries and so on? So when people say cooperative farming, many times actually they are referring to what I call pre-production aggregation and post-production aggregation. That when farmers go to markets to buy farm inputs and services, they face problems. They don't get quality inputs. They don't get absolute quantity required, whatever they require at right time. They don't get at right price. Today also in India, you'll be surprised to know there is a shortage of chemical fertilizers. There is an act called Black Marketing of Fertilizers Act, where people can be jailed if they're found to do black marketing of fertilizers. So we are still living in that kind of scenario, despite the fact that we have two of the largest fertilizer cooperatives maybe in Asia, IFCO and CRIBCO. Both are cooperatives, earlier state-sponsored, but now fully autonomous. So you have issues on the input side, that when farmers go to buy, they face exploitation. On the output side, when they go to sell, again, either they are missing markets or there is a market failure in terms of quality. You don't get value for money for your produce, or the transaction costs are very high. You end up paying hefty commissions and other charges and so on. So I believe that if you need to prepare farmers to deal with the modern markets, which are driven by large players, whether multinational corporations, transnational corporations, or food supermarkets, or other processors and exporters of agriculture and allied produce, then you need to give them platforms where they can be helped to buy better and sell better. Both ways, you need to help them so that they can get out of what we call interlocking of markets. In countries like India, a majority of the farmers are still dependent partly or fully on traditional money lenders and agri input and output traders and commission agents to meet their working capital needs. For every crop sowing, they need to borrow. Once they borrow, either in cash or kind, then they need to go and sell back their output to those entities where there is exploitation. So there's implicit exploitation and explicit exploitation. And the rates of interest are very high. It ranges from 18% to as high as 60% per annum. So with this kind of borrowing, how can you make your livelihoods sustainable? Because you end up basically returning those loans or paying off those debts most of the time. And therefore, you would have heard of that. A lot of farmers are indebted in India, more than 56 or 57%. There are frequent sort of stories of farmer suicides in even so-called agriculturally, what I call grown, not developed states like Punjab or Telangana, but not necessarily in Bihar. Okay. So the modern agriculture development which India has achieved after Green Revolution is also showing its own problems now. That it's not necessary that by doing high cost, modern chemical input based farming, you can make money. People are not really able to make money. The average monthly income of a farming household is only 10,000. Yeah. A farming family in India just earns 10,000 rupees, which is just about $150, you can say. And if you take out even the implicit costs, family labor and other things, it just comes down to $100, 8,000 rupees per month. That is the average. And some are even lower than that if you are a marginal category farmer. So there is a big rationale for organizing small farmers into collectives. And AMUL is the most talked about case of success of bringing farmers together or making farmers do their own business. So I would build my story around AMUL, but meanwhile I may also go forward, backward to complete the sort of missing links to make the story complete. So I'll be happy to even entertain questions if you have any questions in between, but at the end we'd be happy to spend some time on. So I would talk about AMUL model of cooperative organization in India, but let me also tell you that the same state of Gujarat, which has made such a big success in terms of AMUL being talked about, has also many stories of cooperative failure, which are documented but not talked about. You name any crop, Gujarat has tried cooperative model in that, but it has not worked. The National Dairy Development Board, which was set up in 1965 to promote a cooperative model of dairy development and had a lot of funds from Operation Flood, which was World Bank supported, over 3 phases, tried to transplant AMUL model into oil seeds and fruits and vegetable produce. It failed miserably. Yeah. So we need to remember this, that what works in one place or one crop or one sector need not necessarily work elsewhere, because the dynamics of each crop or commodity sector are very different. Milk, you have to milk the cow or buffalo twice a day. You have to supply milk at least once to the dairy cooperative society. You can't keep it back because it will get curdled. Oil seed you harvest only once in a season, 6-month season, and once in a year, because next season is something else. So in milk, even if the farmer defaults, side sells a few days or few times, it's okay for the cooperative. But in oil seeds, if the farmer defaults once, one season he doesn't supply or she doesn't supply, the cooperative has lost business for the entire year. Similarly, in fruits and vegetables, where NDDB with its model called Shuffle, if you have gone to Delhi, you would have seen this Shuffle stores, which basically means successful in terms of retailing of fresh produce, fruits and vegetables. It has been struggling for the last 31 years. Is not able to get it right. They are still stuck with only informal farmers associations. There no formal legal recognition of those farmer groups. So that is a big lesson for us to remember, that we should be very careful in strategizing across different sectors, even within agriculture. You should do proper value chain mapping and analysis to see where the problem lies, where should one intervene, with what kind of business model, what kind of organizational structure. Because I mentioned that India has more than half a dozen legal provisions to register farmers' collectives. And until this Producer Company Act came in, most of the collectives were registered as cooperatives. Yeah. But now the shift is almost complete, that even Government of India is promoting this producer company model, and 80% of the new cooperatives being promoted or farmer collective being promoted are registered under the Companies Act. Yeah. So the realization is almost NDDB itself, National Dairy Development Board, which was the owner of AMUL model, has moved on. Now it is setting up milk producers companies at the provincial level, with membership ranges from 60 to 70,000 rupees each, members each, and turnover runs into millions of rupees, and milk procurement runs into millions and millions of liters every day. So NDDB itself has moved on from traditional cooperative structure promotion to producer company structure, because it realizes that that is more workable, perhaps because that is more in tune with the changing market scenario. So when you look at AMUL, we need to understand a little bit of the dairy sector in India. Yeah, India is of course the big producer of milk now. It has 21% of the global milk production. More than 50% is still used as liquid milk. We are not too much into milk production, milk product making. Only 22% of milk produced in India is processed into value-added products. About 45% is retained at home for home consumption by the producing households. Organized dairy segment still accounts for only about 25 to 30% of the total milk production and business built around it. Yeah, dairy cooperatives procure very large numbers of milk liters, almost 60 million liters daily, but they market only about 40 to 43 million. The rest is converted into milk products. It is growing at a very good rate. In fact, nationally, when we talk about contribution of agriculture to gross domestic product, dairying is contributing, or the milk sector is contributing almost 25% of the agricultural GDP. Another 25% comes from horticulture. The crop sector is giving only 50%. And these two sectors are so fast growing and robust that recently Government of India has created a separate ministry of fisheries, animal husbandry and dairying. Earlier it was part of the agricultural ministry and it was just a department. Now there is a separate ministry. Similarly, the focus on cooperatives also gone up because there is a separate ministry of cooperation now for the last 2 years. And we have just completed framing a national cooperative policy. I was a member of that committee, which had 49 stakeholders as members from banking sector, agriculture sector, housing sector, this sector, wherever there is a cooperative presence, all of them were members of that committee. And if you look at the numbers of institutions in the sector, you can see we have more than 0.2 million dairy cooperative society, which are primaries basically. I'll explain more about when I talk about the model, AMUL model or Anand Pattern of cooperative organization. So these are the local level, either village or cluster of village level dairy cooperative societies. They have 17 million, yeah, if I'm reading it right, members, and they have this 58 million liters milk procurement daily, and 42 million is sold every day. And India has now become a net exporter of dairy commodities. If you have read the news, AMUL has started advertising its products in New York now. Yeah, in the main sort of center of New York there, they have started promoting their brand. Now NDDB has, when we talk of AMUL, you cannot ignore NDDB because it's headquartered in the same town. It's for the first time in India perhaps that because of Dr. Kurian, the headquarters of a national board were not in Delhi. The condition he put was that I want to be away from the center of power. So he headquartered this dairy board in small town. That time it was a village, not even a sub-district. So NDDB is still headquartered in Anand, town of Gujarat, just 2 kilometers away from AMUL factory. So that has made all the difference. And then he created a set of institutions, whether IRMA or National Cooperative Dairy Federation of India, or dairy equipment manufacturing company called IDMC, Indian Dairy Machinery Company, and many others. It's listed here. Yeah, as subsidiaries of NDDB. Yeah, this is a board set up as under the Act of Parliament, so nobody can really touch it in that sense. So they have been doing a lot of this support to state federations, milk federations at the provincial level and the district level unions. And Gujarat has been one of the major beneficiaries of this support, which came under Operation Flood 1, 2 and 3, because they were lending to these cooperative based on their performance. If you are able to procure milk from farmers, able to process it well, able to sell it well, you will get more money. So performance-based grants by NDDB really helped AMUL to get a very large chunk of the grants being given. Then they have been doing breed improvement. I will also talk about how AMUL is getting into it now directly as a cooperative. They have been doing feed improvement programs. They are getting into even fodder seed production because India is likely to face very serious fodder shortage, green fodder and dry fodder. So they are now getting into promoting a new seed varieties there and so on. So you can see here how many subsidiaries NDDB has: IDMC, IIL, Indian Immunologicals Limited, Mother Dairy Fruits and Vegetables, which I talked about, the fruit and vegetable project, National Dairy Services Company, which is promoting this farmers milk producer companies. They have promoted 22 already. Then there is this calf NDDB Calf Limited, which is doing basic breeding of new animals, and it is also partner in 3 new national level multi-state cooperative societies set up by the government of India after the new Ministry of Cooperatives are created. One is on exports, other is on seeds, third is on organics. So NDDB is promoter of 2 of these multi-state cooperative societies, and government is trying to use these to help farmers export their produce or supply them certified quality seeds or do organic promotion, because India is into it in a big way. Not only organic, more recently government is promoting what is called natural farming. Natural farming is in one step higher than organic. Of course, it's not certified, it has no global recognition, but government is saying that if you produce without using any market-based inputs, whether chemical or bio, then we'll give you some support. So a lot of agriculture area in India is coming under natural farming. There's one state called Andhra Pradesh, which is having its mandate to convert the whole state's agriculture into natural farm agriculture in the next few years. They have very large state-sponsored program to move farmers from chemical-based agriculture to natural farming model. And NDDB is also doing this another thing which is a major issue. Morning we had questions about it, that when you talk of Indian agriculture, it's all about men. The women are missing. Though we keep saying that Indian agriculture is feminized, that a lot of the workers are women because men are moving out. And if you talk about animal husbandry, it's mostly done by women within the household. But when you look at their organizations in terms of dealing with markets, the traditional cooperatives have no women membership, literally, because the agricultural cooperatives other than dairy demand that you should have land ownership to become a member. We have this primary agriculture credit societies. You will not become member there if you don't own land. But only 13% land titles in India are in the name of women. Rest is all in the name of men. So how do you make it more gender balanced? So then NDDB started promoting all women producer companies. Yeah. So they have this out of 22 milk producer, they have 15 which have all women membership. And all the producer directors on their boards are women dairy farmers. I've studied 2 of them recently. And before that, they were trying to do village level dairy cooperative society, which were all women member based. But then unions and federation level, they had no representation. But here they are saying to begin with, because these are single tiered companies, the producer companies are single tiered bodies. There's an individual membership of each farmer. There's no federated body and so on. So there they have taken this up and promoting it. And now, of course, they are also getting into this biogas in terms of sustainable energy projects and even issues of many other types of sustainability thing they are coming into. But that is very recent phenomena. So these are the 3 phases of Operation Flood, starting with 1970. It was very innovative of Dr. Kurian to use food aid to do institutional development. When this butter oil was given to India by the EU or European Union, he did not pass it on as free food to people. You sold that and converted that money into investments in dairy projects in India. And that made all the difference. And then second phase, um, it started moving out from Gujarat and saying we want to do this kind of thing across India. So milk sheds, basically saying district level milk unions, increased from 18 to 136 across North India, East India, Central India, South India, yeah. And it was 3,000 villages which were covered with 4.2 million farmers being members by 1985 itself. We are talking about 40 years old data. Then came the phase 3 from 85 to 96, where they further expanded this network of cooperatives, the 3-tier, which I will talk about. And 30,000 new dairy cooperatives were set up at the village level, and total of them came to 73,000. So India has 7.5 lakh villages, or 0.75 million villages, and there are this 73,000 local level cooperatives in milk, which cater to more than one village each. So maybe this covers something like 0.2 million, if not more, villages in India. And this we are talking traditional AMUL cooperatives. If you add the newer ones, the milk producer companies, the number may be higher in terms of number of villages covered. Now, if we get back to the AMUL history and background, what started in 1946, yeah, with the first powder plant coming up only after 8 years. Yeah, first they thought liquid milk sales will do, but no, there is a lot of seasonality in milk production. You have lean season and you have flush season. So what do you do with the extra milk? So you have to convert that into milk powder. So they started with that. And when it started, they just had 2 local village level dairy cooperative societies, and they were just collecting 247 liters of milk. So that small. Yeah, today we are talking of millions of liters and so on. So 3-tier structure, which is relevant to talk about here, because now the government of India, which has been promoting the farmer companies, it had a scheme from 2019 to 2024 for 5 years, where they wanted to promote 10,000 more farmers companies, new companies, with lot of financial support. And they also gave income tax exemption to producer companies for 5 years, which cooperatives never got. Today also in India, if cooperatives make profits, they have to pay tax. So many of the cooperatives pass on this surplus to members as price benefit or bonus. You can't retain those earnings and profits to reinvest in your business because you'll be taxed. But producer companies, because this is a new favorite of the government, have been given exemption for 5 years from income tax. And now the new policy, proper policy, not a scheme, on farmer producer companies, which has just come out last month, 2024, July 2024, talks about taking this number of producer companies to 50,000 by 2029. Yeah, so the numbers, if you add all these numbers, there's so many cooperatives. There are so many cooperatives in India in general, and particularly in dairy sector, because dairy sector is well entrenched. And if I tell you the average size of livestock holding, it is just 2.5 in India. A farmer just owns 2.5 animals, cows or buffaloes, or a combination of that. So you really have very small producers. Therefore, you need to have large numbers to achieve viable scale for any processing, value addition, or marketing. So you have village level societies, then you have district level, and then you have state level. This GCMMF, which is the owner of AMUL brand, which is the federated body of all the Gujarat milk cooperatives, it's called Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. It was set up only in 1973. Before that, there's no state level federated body, just unions trying to sell locally or giving it to NDDBs, mother dairy projects and others, which were distributing milk in metros and so on. So this entity is now very, very large in every sense of the term. Now this entity collects 26 million liters of milk per day, and AMUL, incidentally, AMUL stands for Anand Milk Union Limited. Yeah, it's the abbreviated term for Anand Milk Union Limited, which has now become the Kheda District Cooperative Milk Producers Union. AMUL is not the largest milk procuring and selling agency anymore as a district union. It is the North Gujarat unions. It's called Sabarkantha, Banaskantha, and so on. They are much bigger than AMUL. So AMUL is talked about because AMUL is the marketing sort of entity of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, the federated body. But AMUL as a district union is not very big anymore. AMUL has another brand which is called Sagar for clarified butter or ghee. Yeah, that also sells very well. It also has a trading house status for exports. So it's doing a lot of exports. It has also got an award by Agriculture and Food Processed Food Export Development Authority for export performance. This is an agency which promotes agri and food exports from India. You have to have their standards met before you can export. It has processing capacity of 41 million liters per day. It has feed plants. Almost each union has 1 or 2 feed plants. So 10,000 ton feeds produced every day. It's the 8th largest dairy processor globally. Yeah, so that is the status of AMUL, and turnover of 5 billion US dollars, 3.6 million members, and 18,600 dairy cooperative societies. It is just, I think that number is also the total number of villages in Gujarat, just few hundred here and there. So almost every village in Gujarat has a dairy cooperative society. You don't have to go very far to pour milk into your cooperative. Yeah, the 18 such district unions like the AMUL, who carry out processing and manufacturing, they are allowed to do the liquid milk sales locally. The rest of the thing they have to process and send it to AMUL for centralized marketing. So that is how it works. You do the local level liquid milk sales, so local supply requirements are met, demands are met. The rest goes for value addition. It has 1,000 employees. Yeah. And it is today, it claims to be the largest food products marketing organization of India. I'll share with you the diversification of products which has happened in AMUL that doesn't look like a milk company or milk cooperative anymore. It is doing all kinds of things. Yeah, over the years, it has become very large food giant. This is the Anand Pattern, or you can call AMUL model of organizing cooperatives. You start with the individual milk producers, then they aggregate into a village cooperative, and these are numbers for all India. 73,000 I talked about, district milk unions 170, and 22 provincial federations, whether Punjab or Bihar or Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra or Karnataka or Tamil, all the big agriculture states have their own federations and own brands of liquid milk and milk products. So this is how it's called 3-tier structure. It's also called APC, Anand Pattern Cooperatives. So NDDB kept promoting it until the turn of the century, before they took a call to promote milk producers companies. This was the mantra of dairy development by NDDBs, saying that if you want a robust, sustainable cooperative, then follow the Anand Pattern in setting up milk producers collectives. This is the whole system, the way it is organized, including the other supplementary activity like veterinary aid. For example, if the animal is sick, the veterinary expert reaches the farmer within a few hours. Yeah, the feed is supplied almost every week to the dairy cooperative society, and they have leveraged this logistic system. That same truck which goes to pick up milk carries feed in it when it goes to the village dairy society. and comes back with the milk. It goes twice a day. So you can meet up those demands of, and then payments are made depending on how it is decided by the dairy board, the cooperative society board or the milk union. Generally, it's fortnightly payment. It can also be weekly. It can also be much less frequent. So this is how then the jobs responsibilities are decided, that primary will only do collection, weighing and grading. There is a measurement of fat and SNF content. For individual farmer, it's sort of computerized now. You pour the milk, sample is taken, within a few minutes you get your receipt for the fat content, the quantity you poured, and the money you can claim. So that thing is given there immediately. So then district level takes care of processing and packaging, and the state level, the federation takes care of marketing and distribution. So this is how it is. And the most important part here, I should have mentioned earlier also, that it's cash payment based. They don't sell on credit. Yeah. And many other state federations also follow that model now. The other important part about AMUL model is that they never gave animal loans. They never financed cows or buffaloes. They said, no, we don't want to do that. That's very risky proposition. We will buy your milk and sell it. We will supply cattle feed to you, but we will not support your dairy enterprise in terms of financing the investment in that. That is your business. You can get it from bank, you can get it from government subsidy or whatever. We will not get into that. So that has also been big factor in keeping this kind of cooperatives away from all the issues of financial trouble, which you can get into the farmers default. Farmers don't repay. So that has been a big development there. So this is the way it is. Then if you want to look in terms of the products and marketing processes, yeah. So they pay mostly things like bonus or dividend. Dividend is limited because cooperative law says you can't pay more than 8%. So you have to pass on the benefit as price differential or bonus. But cooperatives like AMUL have also done well because they have retained substantial earnings and invested it in the business of building plants and building marketing systems and so on. So this is the competitive position of AMUL. That today you have so many players. AMUL, then you have Nandini, that is a cooperative in South India. Then you have Nestle, multinational. Then you have Heritage, which is a private company which has been created by destroying a cooperative by a politician. Yeah. And then you have Mother Dairy, which is supported by NDDB with public money. So in this, if you look at reach of the cooperative in terms of how many small farmers are able to rope in, adoption of technology and right practices, modern processing technology, delivering strong marketing efforts, and effective management and control. So you can see that AMUL scores very high on most other than the right technology and practice by farmers. They are still, because farmers are really small and they do a lot of this animal husbandry as a supplementary activity, not exclusive activity. It's more allied to farming. So they rear some animals because you get some fodder or crop residue as fodder. Not that you want to do a commercial dairy activity. It's a different matter that Government of India is now promoting commercial dairy farms also, because the issues of hygiene, issues of quality, and issues of scale. I remember from my days in Anand, NDDB launched a program to promote more hygienic milk production. So they said we will pay half a rupee per liter extra if you are able to bring cleaner milk. It was called Clean Milk Production Program, CMPP, to incentivize the farmer to wash the udder of the cow or buffalo before milking, to cover the bucket with some cloth or some cover or lid, and bring it covered to the society for pouring there in the dairy cooperative society. So those kind of initiatives have to be taken because there are serious issues about the quality of milk in smallholder enterprise household units. So those kind of, but still, if you see here, that AMUL has been able to beat a lot of the multinational and national competitors because of its strong procurement network, which is well entrenched. Now, it also doesn't mean that AMUL doesn't have any competition or it has eliminated competition. You come to Ahmedabad, in the early morning when milk is distributed, you will see 25 private milk brands selling alongside milk, alongside AMUL. 25 different brands from 15, 16 private players. They also sell with different colors of pouches of milk from where AMUL sells. And the influence or effect of AMUL being there has been so much that all these private guys deliver the same benefit to farmers now which AMUL delivers. Otherwise, farmer will not supply milk to these private guys. So most of them are either into product making or into some local sales of liquid milk. But it's not that they have gone away. If you go to Anand town where AMUL factory is located, just opposite it, there are private ice cream makers and Shrikhand sellers who have been traditionally there. They have their own niche. So they still keep selling. People go there to eat because that is commercially produced, non-manufactured kind of, more like handmade or homemade kind of product. So it's very vibrant. I call it the color of competition in milk market in Gujarat. It is still very vibrant. So many brands, but it's all because of AMUL, that AMUL now says that if you want to operate in this sector, you have to have this kind of benchmarking. Otherwise, you will not be able to procure enough, not able to sell enough. So that is the nature of competition. Scale up of Anand Pattern. This is the 2000 data, 20-year-old data, but look at the numbers at that time, because after that gears have changed now. Not many more cooperative societies are coming up. It's more of producer companies now. But 22 states have gone this AMUL way. 170 milk unions, 72 plus 1,000 village dairy societies, and 9 million milk producers. Yeah. And this is not even still 10% of, I'm just close to completing. Yeah, definitely. I think I have very few slides. So it's still not, because India has something like 120 or 130 million farmers. Yeah, and this is still a small number. That's why when I talked about how much organized sector handles, how much cooperative handle, it's still not that cooperatives dominate the scene. There are still a lot of other private dairies. The governance, this federation, AMUL federated body, has this board which has presence of the state in terms of registrar of cooperative being there as a board member. One representative from the dairy board is there on the AMUL board. One nominated technical expert is there, and the managing director of the federation, other than the elected members from various unions which fall under the federation. So there is outside representation, but traditionally, unlike many other states, in Gujarat, the state has not interfered in AMUL's functioning. That's also very important to keep in mind, that state has kept away from it. You can say it was because of NDDB's presence there, or Dr. Kurian's influence there. In the morning, I was talking about 3 types of governance models in dairy in India. One is farmer owned and government controlled. Yeah, it's only name is cooperative, but actually whole control and management is by the government. Tamil Nadu was one classic case. They will put an Indian administrative officer as the chairperson of the dairy federation or dairy union. The second model is farmer owned but professional controlled or managed. AMUL is that category. AMUL's farmers don't interfere in the professional management of business. This is all done by professional MBA in marketing, HR, finance, whatever. Who is who of the business sector is employed there. And third model is the farmer owned, farmer controlled, which is the sugarcane cooperatives of Maharashtra, where farmers actually run the show. So it depends on where, which sector which crop or commodity one is talking about. See, governance is different, but this model has proved to be most viable and sustainable, that farmer may not necessarily understand markets and globalized markets. So you need to leave it to the professionals to work on the farmer's behalf and carry out that successfully. Farmers' interest should be kept paramount. And that brings us to the mission statement. It says, the endeavor is to satisfy the taste and nutritional requirements of the customers of the world through excellence in marketing by the committed team. Yeah, it's very clear that farmers will not really come in the way. We will do all that which is needed to satisfy the customers and the demand, because that is what is going to help us in the long run. Business philosophy: to serve the interests of milk producers. We will do everything in the market which helps producers get value for their produce. We will provide quality products that offer the best value for money to consumers. So it's like any other food company. So when it comes to marketing, there's no heart bleeding for farmer. We will do it professionally. In the process, we'll end up helping the farmer. So they do it through common branding. As I mentioned, there are only 2 brands. Centralized marketing of value-added products, centralized quality control, centralized purchase of all the materials for processing, packaging, whatever, pooling of milk, and no livestock loans to members. Yeah, so this is how neat and clean a model it is. It really doesn't go here and there. And there's a program committee which looks at the more immediate needs of the organization. The managing director, the MDs, managing directors of milk unions, quality control head, and head finance are the program committee. They take day-to-day decisions on what should be done on the product mix, on the business plans, and allocation of products to union. Who will manufacture what? Who will supply what? Who will add value to which product portfolio or category? And mandate, as stated by their MD many years back, is that unlike other organizations, AMUL's objective is not to maximize our profit. After all, the farmer themselves are the owners of the federation. We are restricted by our bylaws to giving a maximum of 12% of the paid share capital as the dividend. So we are more interested in giving the best price to the farmers for their milk than in making a large profit. We don't want to, because if you retain, you would also have to pay income tax. Thus, we look at the price given to our suppliers as not a cost, but as an objective. How do you pass on higher and higher price to the member, farmer? Its main objective is carrying out activity for the economic development of agriculture by efficiently organizing marketing of milk and dairy produce, veterinary medicines, vaccines, and other animal health products, agriculture produce in raw or processed form, and other allied produce. So its mandate is not just milk. It is much broader now. And its supply chain is very important in its performance. Very extensive network of distribution and sales people. Cold chain, more than 3,600 dealers, 400,000 retailers. Now it's much bigger number. And most importantly, it has presence not only in supermarkets now, but even larger retail stores. And it provides chillers and refrigerator, deep refrigerator there. And it has its own parlors now, this kind, all over the place. In every locality, they have a AMUL parlor, which dispenses products throughout the day. They have milk booths. They have authorized outlets, which are run privately. They have ice cream scooping parlors and AMUL online store. And a lot of them are run by franchisees. The AMUL doesn't own it, doesn't run with, so it's not COCO, company owned, company operated stores. These are franchise stores. You ask in private entities to run it for you. And you provide the kind of basic business format, how you will deliver the products from there with kind of ambience and outlook and so on. So it gets its money from dairy products sale, cattle feed sale, licensing and franchising fees, contract manufacturing, and ancillary services. Today, it not just sells bread, it sells frozen pizzas and many other things. Now it's coming into organics, because government is saying that you should promote organics. So it has its dairy farms. I'll show you some pictures of what is going on there in terms of the state of the art research and development, milk processing plants, manufacturing facilities. It has chocolate plant in Anand itself, a very old one. It has cheese plant. It has gone to other states now, like Punjab, and setting up manufacturing plants there and organizing farmers into supplying milk to them. But there are also issues there coming up, which we can talk about. That how can one state cooperative go to another state? What happened to cooperation among cooperatives? Yeah, brand and intellectual property, technological infrastructure, skilled workforce. And this is what earlier it was just three products: liquid milk, butter, and milk powder. Then it came out with the cheese in 1970s, then chocolates little later after that, then ice cream in 96, and it had 30% market share. That time itself, it's much more now. Then it tried to help NDDB by carrying its Dhara brand of edible oil, which I mentioned as a failure, that this AMUL model didn't work in oil seeds as a cooperative model, but it is still selling this brand of edible oil. Fruits and vegetable products, also processed ones, AMUL is dealing with. Sweet meats like mithai and gulab jamun and so on. Bread and chilled fast foods. Flavored beverages. It's a market leader in clarified butter or ghee, ice cream and chocolate. Organic food products. Unprocessed, selling organic atta, organic wheat flour. It's selling organic pulses. It is also procuring and selling in other states. And Punjab is now really protesting, saying, how can you come to our state and take our milk, make money from it, and give only a price, not dividend? Because Punjab farmers are not members of Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. They're only suppliers of milk. So some of the union leaders are now arguing that this will not be tolerated, because you are a Gujarati cooperative, you are not a all India cooperative, you cannot take away Punjab farmers money or whatever. So this kind of thing is also happening. But AMUL is not a milk cooperative anymore. It's a food cooperative, a food company, you can say. It's really very, very diversified, though its origins come from milk. And it says that whatever it does, whatever products brings, it has some complementarity with milk, because they use milk products. For example, when you sell bread, it also helps sell cheese. Yeah, it helps sell butter and so on. So a complementary product sales in that sense. But now when you're getting into organic, you are going beyond that complementarity into just simple product diversification. Importantly, it works with the very lean business strategy, saying that we don't want to produce everything we sell. We will just outsource. It buys from 30 private suppliers, organic products, snacks, ready-to-eat snacks, fruit beverages, sweets, and other products. Because it can't be doing everything in-house, and it's not necessary to do in-house. Yeah. So competition, we talked about. I would skip it, but dealing with competition is important. So earlier, AMUL had the benefit of licensing policy in India, when the dairy sector before the 1990s was not opened up to private investment. The dairy players had to take license from the government, from dairy department, to set up a plant. So the NDDB, National Dairy Development Board, generally will ask the government not to grant licenses where cooperatives operated. And then came the MMPO, Milk and Milk Products Order. Once the government had decided that we want to open up the dairy sector to private investment, NDDB again influenced the government, saying, don't open it in one go. So you have this order that we will give limited permissions to set up plants only in where the cooperatives are not well entrenched, so that don't spoil the show for cooperatives. So they protected the milk sheds of cooperatives, because they said, we have invested so much of public and farmers' money in creating this procurement base. Now you can't let somebody just come in and take away our procurement of milk. Then, of course, it got a lot of support from NDDB under Operation Flood, as I mentioned. Importantly, innovative and aggressive strategies and action like consolidation, expansion in new markets, and not caring about helping other cooperatives anymore. No cooperation among cooperatives, product diversification, and global market reach. So that is the name of the game now for AMUL in terms of moving ahead. That's where I end. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to entertain any questions and seek your inputs on or observations on whatever has been said.
You may sit, Professor Sukhpal. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a very long presentation indeed, but I think so much insights and years of journey. Yeah, 1946, close to 70 years. 70 years. That was after the war, right? 78. 78. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. 78 years young. Excuse me. Okay. Our role here is to learn how AMUL has succeeded from just a tiny unit. I mean, a farmer with a small holding and few cows. And after 70 years, he has become a corporate, yeah, a level of corporate in the world market. Okay, I'll open questions from you. I mean, those who are here. And at the same time, we'll have questions. You got, Amy, you're going to send it to me, is it? The question. All right. Do you have questions? Anyone? Okay. Well, one thing that, okay. Yes, please. Okay, Prof. Fauzi, please. Yeah.
Just, it's a tremendous achievement.
It is.
70, 80 years, yeah. From an ownership of two cows per farmer. You pull it and you go to the village, district, state, and state, federal. We have that all similar when we started. But your key point, I'm sorry, I'm trying to the issue. You noted that get the government off, and that's where the key. Yes. That's where I saw the key of freedom, quote unquote, to the small farmers. We had 3 years back in the 80s where he promoted the milk production because then we have less than 20% of our production, and our animals were very much not very well produced. But the way we programmed it, we have the milk collection center. It grew, but we supported the purchases of milk through Nestle. But when it grew, when production grew, animals grew, we supported through collection. Production grew, subsidy also grew, until to a point we cannot support. And by 1990, all the Malay milk collection center has got to be disengaged. And they, for what we have invested, we let the animal loose to very unorganized. So here, I think we have to relook at the role of government into dictating, quote unquote, planning for the. It's good at times, but I think there is a greater incentive. My question is, from the 70 years that you there, what is the inner incentive? Inner incentive, may it be from the farmers, the system itself? Because I was thinking, fodder, we need to think of the feed, we need to think of the marketing, we need to think of the processing, and we not we use the existing private sector that have the processing facilities to provide it, but they are the one who's controlling 90% of the milk into the country. So I think what we have not probably looked into thoroughly is the whole system. I do not know for the 70 years that you envisage what it is right now, or what you have, the multiflora of development it has, and it appears to be well sustained. But that recent, probably, I do not know whether in your process, the stage one, stage two, and process, because you need the processing and so forth until you are selling your milk to. But my feeling is that the core in India is that two animals, but they know that they have 50% of your liquid milk, yeah, for the local. It is not very much processed, but as it grew, that's where the professional to the marketing has saw, they really saw of the planning that you have. And Gujarat, like the leading state of this definitely takes advantage. Improve to others. But I think it's just awesome. I think it is mind-boggling actually for what we have achieved. With the complexity of the development, I think we have. I think Prof. Fatima has been very much uh, latent to this cooperative, where the potential there. Even in Mondragon itself, they have gone beyond. They start from a base, small base, but at the end of the day, you're talking, and it to me I think is very central because now food security and so forth, and I mean you have so Malaysia probably uh, organization is so important. You compete with Nestle, but we in many ways befriended them, but not realizing that they also is in competition with us. I think this it's good something that opened up my eyes on.
Okay.
Thank you.
I understand you. All right, let's go back to the basic, the starting point. The starting point, Sukhpal, how did you get the farmers to sit together and agree to do it? Didn't you get any opposition or reluctance from them? Yeah. Okay.
It's a very important question.
Within and without, right? Yeah.
That takes us away from the pure business model. It takes us into the social context of organizing cooperatives. For example, when this AMUL was set up, uh, the farmer leader who was to lead this was sitting at the back of the uh, group which were discussing this. And when it was proposed that he would lead it, he refused. No, I'm not interested. And they said, that's why you would be made, because you are not interested for any self interest. We want somebody like you. So a lot of literature on leadership role in AMUL's growth and development. More importantly, when you're talking Nestle, I think the departure here is that when AMUL was conceived, it was conceived that AMUL's farmer member will develop and control the whole value chain. They were not suppliers of milk to anybody. They were creating their own company, a cooperative, for their own well-being or betterment, because they were being exploited by a private dairy called Olson in that town at that time, which was
They
flying
need
to
support,
Bombay.
right? They need
Olson.
support. They need support at that level.
Sorry?
The small
No, no,
farmers.
that's why the report at that level was that one, see, there is a lot of literature in this. One is that where did AMUL happen? It happened in Gujarat, not in Punjab, not in Tamil Nadu. So there is a whole literature about fertile grounds for cooperatives. And a lot of people say that Gujarat has a different culture where people come together easily. Many other states in India, people don't even, brothers don't even talk to each other properly. Yeah. So that, no, that's important. That's important that there is a culture of cooperation. There is a quality of leadership. It's a Gandhian state again. Yeah. And there is this whole entrepreneurial spirit among Gujarati farmers, which is I think well known, which is unparalleled. Gujarati farmer is like a businessman. Yeah, he may look very simple, but he understands the entire business aspect of the farming and so on. So I think one is that we need to recognize that it didn't happen in Punjab, it didn't happen in some other state, it happened in Gujarat. A lot of cultural explanations are there in that. The other part is that once you give this whole model to the farmer saying it is only you, nobody else, that we are doing all this for this, and the state, if you talk state being supportive rather than disruptive in this whole process, and an agency or a leader rather professional, Dr. Kurian, who when he came to this town to serve as a factory manager or plant manager, since he was from south, he was Christian, he was unmarried, he didn't even get a house on rent, so he stayed in a garage near the AMUL factory. So he dedicated his whole life and he took the local farmer leaders, whether Sardar Patel or Dr. Das Patel, uh, into sort of confidence, saying, let us build it together. So it was a coming together of professional and farmer leaders who had influence on farmers, which led to this. And remember that there is this whole community of Patel farmers in Gujarat. Yeah, Patel, Patel. This is a subcaste. It's a farming community. You can say upper caste or medium caste community who are very very resourceful also. It's a different matter that now after about 30 40 years of AMUL operating, AMUL the district union operating there, the local rich farmers gave up dairy farming because they started going abroad. They started doing, they diversified into non-farm occupations and so on. Then the procurement base of AMUL shifted to a sub-district called Kappadwans, which was the most backward sub-district of that district. Because the lower caste then saw that there is a money in this. So they took up this, and the upper caste. Also, the Gujarat leadership was very clear that we would not shun away lower caste. We'll take them into fold because we need scale. So it's a revolutionary thing in India that when a dairy cooperative society was set up anywhere, people from any community, any caste could come and pour milk in the same drum. Yeah, so it's also got a lot of social sort of tolerance and coexistence, which happened there, which would not happen in many other states at that time.
What were the bigger challenges then?
A bigger challenge, like I spoke in my mind, maybe trickly difficult. Therefore, now we have to think of new models of organizing farmers. Therefore, I was spending some time talking about farmers' companies, producer companies. That now you need to have structures which are more market fit. So that is the challenge. Like today, I was saying that today Dr. Kurian himself would have found it very difficult to set up an AMUL and make it what it has become because the context has changed. There's no protection from the state. There is no protection from any competition, whether domestic or global. India is a globalized market now. You have to compete with who's who of the market. So I think that we need to appreciate that and therefore think of more innovations in the structure we create for farmers, we set up for farmers, not stick to this old cooperative model. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Okay. So, yes, please.
Prof, just as an introduction, I'm not from the academic side of things, more into the entrepreneurship. There was one line that I was very interested. You mentioned that there are a couple of these cooperatives which are run by women. Okay, of course, in Malaysia we have quite a number of societies which is like single mothers, etc. Now, can you just give a slightly more detail about this? You know, do they have a unique structure? Do they have a unique way, or it's similar to be with your national cooperatives? It just happens to be this is purely women driven or something like that. I'm just interested in that particular side of things. Thank you.
See, when NGTV thought of this, that says, okay, we are doing a lot of dairy development, a lot of money is flowing into villages, but is it going to the right hands? They said, no, it is not, because men are controlling all the income, because men come to poor milk and receive payments. Then how do you engage women when you know that women are contributing to the animal husbandry part and all that, up to the milking of the cow or the buffalo? The social context in India is such that women generally do not uh, participate in activities done in open. Yeah, stepping out of the household in many communities is almost forbidden. So how do you give a space to women there? You create places or spaces where only women are there. Yeah, because there's the parda system and this and that. When men are there, women will not like to speak and so on. So you create exclusive spaces for women in terms of only women member dairy cooperative, where they come, they pour milk, they do all the calculations, and staff is also women. So they started with that small experiment, which worked. And then today they are not just doing this small experiment, they are doing all women member based state level or province level farmer producer milk producers companies, where all these 60, 70, 80,000 members are women. And women now appreciate that once they get control of this income, what all transformation they can see. So that has, you have to have a lot of women staff to do the promotion of this kind of idea. You have to handhold them for some time. You have to make them understand the fat system, NSF system, and so on, and understand where your milk goes and all that. So that I think works now. Even in Punjab, they have this milk producers company, which is not exclusively women, but it's mixed membership. So now India is also changing in very many ways. Women are much more exposed to external environment. Many of them are very educated, even in villages. They are high school pass, they are graduates, and so on. And they're also, the government of India also has changed the customary laws of old property now. Earlier, women didn't get any share in father's property. Now they get equal share. Girls get equal share as boys. So all that is making a difference. And today, it's not that difficult job to organize women to come up and do their own business. They are doing it. Not only in dairying, there are poultry women's cooperatives. Yeah, poultry women, where women generally keep away some of these businesses. But the only thing where women still are not able to venture for various reasons is that India has this wholesale agriculture markets, both wet and dry, the fresh produce and the cereal grains or whatever. There is no women participation. Nobody comes, no women come to sell there, no women buyer come there. There's no commission agent who is a woman there. So I keep arguing that that is the domain in which we need to bring more gender equality, because that is where a lot of the high value produce and volumes of produce is uh, transacted. And if only men come there to sell and men take charge of the money, then what happened to the household food security and gender issues, the health and nutrition and so on? Then that remains. But unfortunately, there is no improvement there, no changes, no provisions for that. But in the farmer company part, the government has a scheme that if it's all women PCs, producer companies, then we may give you higher equity grant. We give you more support.
What happens to the husbands if they become members? The husbands?
No, you can have husband can have membership in other producer company. There's no restriction. It's unlike corporate that you can't be member in more than one. In producer company, farmer company, you can be member in different companies at the same time, provided you contribute the equity, the money. So husbands also recognize this when they say that, okay, if my wife is getting membership and it's healthy, why not? And we also are looking for joint membership, that spousal membership should be there. That if not exclusive, say that any farmer, if he wants to become a member of a producer company, has to also bring his spouse along. We will give joint membership to two of them.
Okay, super. Right. There's one question online. What kind of smart farming is being practiced among farmers in dairy production? Smart farming.
Yeah, smart farming to the extent that one is this, because the smallholder dairy farmers, they know major change other than the fact that one, this clean milk production thing has helped to some extent to make people aware of hygiene in milk. The second is bulk milk chillers are being sort of established at the village level, the dairy cooperative society level. So the milk need not be transported twice or once a day every time. You can keep the milk there for maybe overnight or 2 days in the village level, and you can take larger volumes in one go. But the smart farming is more in terms of what government is promoting, which is commercial dairy farms. Nestle is doing that, and actually it's a very interesting. Nestle has two models in India. It works directly with farmers who rear more than 25 animals. It has direct contract with them. They call it commercial dairy farm, and you sort of deal that with them individually. But if you are a smaller dairy holder, livestock holder, then Nestle will say, I will not work directly with you. My agent will work with you, or intermediary will work with you. So that is their contract farming model in dairy or milk. So the other part is that government is promoting this commercial dairy farm, which are having milking machines. Now, in fact, there is one private dairy company in Pune. I saw it firsthand. I went to the one. It has 3,000 cows, and it does rotary milking of these cows. 10 cows are milked in 3 minutes, and they claim that the milk they have is untouched by human hand, and it is supplied on order to film stars like Shah Rukh Khan. Yeah, and he says, the owner says, I give music to my cows. They give happier milk. So this kind of things are also going on, but this is not the mainstream of Indian smallholder dairy farming. There are farmers who have this the modern facilities for the Jersey cows and so on. But that is, I would say, very small segment, niche segment. But I didn't show the pictures of AMUL, not NEDB, which has been doing it for many decades. But AMUL has recently set up a breeding farm in that same town, which I visited a couple of months back, where they're doing state of the art breeding program. Each calf is kept separately, monitored separately, fed separately, and so on. So it's a kind of state of the art kind of R&D which is going on there to do breed improvement to enhance milk production per cattle head or whatever. So it's reaching that level. It's of course with international collaborations and so on. But what I saw there was quite like, I didn't expect a cooperative to have that kind of backup in terms of R&D, which is really world class.
Okay, could you describe the difference between, say, for example, vegetable cooperative versus probably oil palm cooperatives? Because as you say, the dynamics of the supply chain determine the processes or the operations of the cooperative. What way they are different?
Yeah, example in the perishable produce or horticulture produce sector, I just give you 2 3 contrasting examples.
Yeah.
I mentioned about NDDB's Shuffle project, which has been going on for more than 30 years now, which still doesn't convince one that it can be on its own, because they not even registered their farmer associations. So there's no legal entity to these farmers they procure from, and they are focused more on the retail through these retail outlets. The other is this.
So the focus is more on retail.
Sorry?
So the difference is it is focused on retail.
Retail, they're not really. I keep asking them why, if you are so serious about it and it's a public funded project, why are you not organizing farmer into some entity? But
Yeah, they have to harvest it and transport it and grade it and packaging it.
That is fine, but
Yeah.
whose project is it? What is farmer stake in it other than being a supplier?
Yeah, they're
What do
suppliers.
farmers get there?
They are suppliers.
So what? Being people are supplying milk to Nestle also. Do you call it cooperative model? No. So what is farmer engagement in this? What is farmer stake in this? if I'm taking the cooperative as the best business model for farmers, that they have to have ownership of the.
Is that why that cooperative didn't work out? Is that the reason?
No, no, that dynamic of the commodity, I'm just explaining that.
All right.
Now, fruits and vegetables, they are perishable.
Okay.
They cannot be stored. There's a lot of diversity in the product. It's not one type. Milk is just milk.
Okay.
Only fat levels vary, but it looks like one product, right? All different types of milk, same color. But fruits and vegetables are not like that. Fruits have different dynamic, vegetables different dynamic. One vegetable has another season, second vegetable another season.
So how would cooperative help them?
Cooperative will help them in terms of making sure that they create a market for that and sell it daily at retail level. See, then you get the surplus.
Okay.
When farmers now go and sell fruits and vegetables, they sell it in the wholesale market where the traders buy, you have to pay commission. These markets aren't very well regulated. So if you can go directly to retail, you can keep all the surplus with you, which can be given to
more
farmers.
on the distributive.
Yeah, but the difference here is that the whole project is publicly funded. It's not owned by farmers. So you are just behaving like another entity which is trying to help farmers. The second example is from South India, where there's one very old, maybe as old as AMUL or maybe just 10 years younger than AMUL, horticultural cooperative, production, processing and marketing society. It's called HOPCOMS, HOPCOMS. It has been a failure throughout. It is only state supported. It will die if the state stops giving money to it. It also has retail outlets throughout Bangalore and Mysore.
Why did it fail?
Because it's a state run. It's not professionally run like AMUL.
Okay. All right.
The state decides who will be managing director, state decides who will be employed as staff or whatever. So it's a basically state run cooperative. So the third one, which is a classic case of how you can be innovative in very successfully creating and attending to a market for a highly perishable produce like grapes. Maharashtra has a company called Maha Grapes, which is a special purpose vehicle of 6 grape growers cooperatives. They had, when they were trying to export grapes as cooperative, they had a serious issue with Europe in the early 90s because of this chemical residues and so on. Then they thought of this idea that let's create a dedicated vehicle. So this was created as a public-private partnership and a private company. The Maharashtra State Agriculture Marketing Board and National Cooperative Corporation came along with cooperative. They invested in this new company called Maha Grapes. Now that company has turned around the entire grape story of those cooperatives. It is the largest grape exported today, global gap certified. So they brought all the modern technology, they brought all the residue testing equipment.
So at the farm level is contract farming?
Yeah, they're doing, no, your members, it's almost like contract, but they're members. They buy from member farmers.
They do provide input, yeah?
They supply everything.
They supply everything.
They give all the technical support also. So what I'm saying, just creation of a special purpose vehicle by the cooperatives together led to the success of the cooperative movement in grapes.
We have that model, don't we, Fauzi?
I just want to review what the stated have done.
Please.
AMUL, I think AMUL make a really a breakthrough when you get into processing. This is my thought. When you go to processing, because traditionally it's milk has been used for liquid. You drink it, when it grew. But as the milk grew, you need processing, and AMU has taken that to the processing of milk and so forth. Maybe thinking of that. Probably that's where the breakthrough is, because with that you have your ghee production and other that can be produced, and you have a wider distribution. And your marketing with your professional coming in and focusing on the following marketing operation of AMUL that really expand. When your production expand, when your sales expand, then you are thinking back now to enrich your production through the feeder, to feed meals, to your breeding, which is now. this is what the Chinese are doing they are doing improvement in dairy, but India has been known for its dairy rather than the meat. Yeah, dairy production is so you have I
Yes,
forgot. That's where I think the breakthrough is you focus on your development of your marketing and product development and so forth that really have impacted.
Okay. Forward
That thing that
integrated
that's
marketing.
Yeah, it's basically the debate in India has been about whether we should do fresh milk sales or we should do value addition. I think initially has been sort of seen that selling fresh milk is more viable because you get your money back every day. In value added, you have to wait for months. If you don't have that backup, then it becomes difficult. But the positive side of value addition is that, for example, India has suffered milk holidays also. Milk has been drained because there's so much of surplus in states like Maharashtra. They should milk holidays. Cooperative will declare milk holidays saying we can't buy your milk. Sorry, we have no place to process and keep it. So that way value addition can help. So, but it's a combination of you. I would say you just can't. For example, Nestle does only products. It doesn't do fresh milk sales in India.
Okay.
So it depends on who you are, what market you are targeted at, what kind of capacity you have as an organization.
Yeah.
But in India, there's a huge liquid milk market. A lot of people buy milk and make ghee from that milk at home. A lot of people buy milk and make curd from that. So you would be penetrating more if you're selling liquid milk rather than products which some of us may not like saying it is factory made product. It's not really genuine.
The product are diversified. Yeah. Okay. Our gentleman over there.
Hi, I have a question here. How many milk cooperatives do we have in Malaysia?
Okay. None.
yes, we have two now. Because we cannot support the subsidy of the production. 1990 we stopped the milk price investment, and we can afford to pay for the increase in milk production that we sell to Nestle for processing and selling it.
That is not cooperative model.
Yeah, but the cooperative model was from the pig.
No, that is not the.
Among the farmers.
Right.
That is basically you're saying I'm just becoming a dedicated supplier to Nestle.
That's why it ends in the country.
Yeah. Cooperative means the whole thing has to be cooperative, farmer owned up to the end. That is cooperative model. You
Okay, your
be just-
questions. Okay, your questions.
My second question, any of the ex-Malaysian cooperative, milk cooperative members here? Are there anyone here, ex or present? Okay.
Okay. Next.
My next question will be, my next one will be, it says, Gabungan Persatuan Koperasi Susu Malaysia is there. And how come nobody knows? They didn't know about this. They should have been around here to question. Sorry, I'm not putting anyone on the stand here. But, pardon? I helped set up that one. And I was quite shocked that I got the news about today's meeting here from a person who's not even a dairy farmer. So this is a Malaysian problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a few minutes more. Okay. This one you have to answer yes or no. Farmers are happy with the cooperative model in terms of income generation? Yes or no? Should be yes.
Yes,
Yeah?
they are.
Right. Okay. Last one. What are your messages to Malaysia? Short one.
See, one I would say when you think of cooperative, don't think it halfway. Think this is only to aggregate milk and give to somebody who can buy it. That is not going to be helpful in the long term. You will actually create more problems for the future of cooperation in country. You have to think of how do I see the mantra anywhere. The mantra of
Mantra.
the farmer income enhancement is that you should try to have farmer ownership or control, more importantly control, at as many links in the value chain as possible.
Okay.
Only supplying will not help. You should maybe have procurement plus, you should have procurement and processing.
Yeah.
If not processing, procurement and fresh sales. So I say money is in the market, not in production. This is the problem with the farmers across the developing world. They are working very hard, but when it comes to making money, they will give it to somebody else. Money is in the market, not in the field. And they are not present. Their institutions, their agencies are not there. It's somebody else, at the state or the private or the multinational. So they make all the money. I ask this question, very sort of rough question. When we talk of farmer distress, agrarian distress, why only farmers are committing suicide? Have you seen any other stakeholder value chain committing suicide? No. So that should tell us that we should get the farmer to the market or towards the market as much as possible, cover that distance. Right. Don't be happy supplying more, producing more, and producing at lower cost. Lower cost and higher yield is of no use if you're not able to sell it well.
Okay. And don't give them credit.
Yes.
How many suicidal cases of
Oh dear.
Not as many, but there are. See, the classic case there is Bihar, which many people think it is not very developed state. Not a single case of farmer suicide. Bihar, not a single case reported, single case by any government statistics. Punjab, so-called agriculture success story, hundreds every month, thousands every year. Maharashtra is again the largest number. Karnataka, largest number. So it's not about farm size. Punjab has 4 times average operated size of the farm against Indian average. Punjab farmer on an average cultivates 10 acres or 4 hectares. All India average is 1 hectare. Bihar farmer has less than 1 hectare. So I say it is not the size of the farm. What is that you do on farm? How you do, when you do, for whom you do, how much you do, and why you do. That makes the difference.
All right.
So I think that is the name of the game. Don't blame the small farm. That is the most efficient.
Yes.
The way we connect to the market, that creates most of the problems.
Okay. All right. Do you know that there are 100 participants there online?
Oh,
yes. I guess they have questions. Any more questions? All right, guys. It is very enriching for me since morning till today. And of course, we have lots of questions more to Sukhpal if we give him time. But I think he's tired. Suki is so tired. But the message is less government involvement or control over the farmers, and we empower the farmers. Don't give them credit so that they find ways to reduce their marketing costs or to be efficient in production, and allow them, as I've always said, to go beyond primary production, meaning let them go to value addition sectors with the help of the cooperative vehicle, right? And as in the case of India, the government support in terms of regulation, right? And support. Do you provide subsidy? No subsidy?
To the farmers?
Yeah, no.
Yes. There is cash subsidy being given.
Cash subsidy.
6,000 rupees or $80
yes.
per year being given to each landowner.
All right.
Not
Okay.
necessarily farmer.
All right. Okay.
And
So
some states, the bigger land holding you have, more money you get. So it's highly inequitable.
yes.
Bigger gets more.
Okay. All right. Okay. So support from the government. And
But I just want to give an example. The way government can spoil things many times. This 2020 Farm Acts, when they came for protesting, one of the laws said that the cooperative should pay the farmer within so many days. So I asked, who are you to dictate the cooperative? Cooperative self-governed body members will decide whether to pay every week or every fortnight or every 3 weeks. Why do you poke your nose there? So the government sometimes over-regulate, which is not good.
yeah.
So cooperative board decides whether to pay monthly or fortnightly. The government is trying to dictate in one of those laws to the cooperatives also, which we oppose. So anyway, later on those laws were repealed. But this kind of lawmaking is no good. Sometimes regulatory oversight is worse than not having it.
Yeah. Yeah, shouldn't be restrictive, but instead of opening up more windows of opportunities for them to go beyond their farms. Yeah, and I think Prof. Sukhpal mentioned about producer farmer cooperatives. That is how many years old? 2 years old. That concept. Is it How
User
new?
companies.
Yeah.
No, it's a 20-year-old law.
20-year-old law.
Yeah, but the vibrancy has started only about 10 years back.
Yeah,
Now there
okay.
are thousands of them.
So it's a merging of private sector style together with the cooperative principles. So that is something new
One
that
of
we
the
ought to.
briefs, I think I showed that. I didn't show it here, but I have a four-page brief on whether producer companies can help small farmers.
Yeah, you can share that PowerPoint with us. Yeah, okay.
And the book is coming out maybe in another 3-4 months.
Okay.
The book of 35 case studies of producer companies
Right.
in India. Their
Okay.
performance and impact on farmers.
Okay. I think we have had enough of Sukhpal today. He has so much to say and so much gems from his speeches and discussion. Uh, Time is running out. They have to go to Kuala Lumpur, KLCC, for the night. As the last word, I would like to say thank you so much, Sukhpal, for coming to our place and also sharing your thoughts and vision and your experience. Very, very precious to us. We have so much to learn from India, and I hope UPM as well as UKM as well as those officials online from ministries do learn from India and don't be scared to share and to get ideas from India. Because if we go to New Zealand, it is a different ball game altogether. Fonterra is, of course, they are advanced, or even Mondragon. The ecosystem there is different. The business are different. The people are different. But India is the closest to us, and lots of similarities. Of course, there are differences, and as I've said earlier, they have something to share with us and lots of experience that they can share with us, and they can help us with their experience. Thank you so much so far, and thank you for all of you for being with me here, and those online too. Thank you so much for listening to this precious talk. I hope that it brings benefit to us all. Thank you very much. Yes, Annie.
Thank you so much for an interesting talk. As a token of appreciation, may I invite Professor Dr. Abdurrahim Abdul Samad, Head of Laboratory of Agriculture and Food Policy Studies, together with Professor Fatima, to kindly present a memento to Professor Dr. Sukhpal. Okay, thank you, Prof. Rahim, Prof. Fatima, and also Prof. Sukhpal. So I would like to invite all participants to the photography session. So I hope you can stay for a while for a photography session. And for those who in online, so I would like to kindly invite you to open your camera for a photography session. And don't forget to fill in the registration and also evaluation form. Photography session. Yeah, here. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Maybe all of you can come here.
Yeah.
Please come.
Please come. For photography.
Please come, all of you.
All of us.
Group photo.
Okay.
Just a minute.
Just 1 2 minutes. All the participants face to face. Since I'm a dairy farmer, I will stand beside doctor.
Oh, yeah.
You had very pointed questions.
Yeah. Factual. Factual.
Seriously.
Okay. Yeah.
On behalf of organizer University Putra Malaysia and also Academy Professor Malaysia, I would like to thank all participants, either online and also physical, in this talk. I hope you enjoy the program. Have a safe trip back home and have a nice weekend. Bye. So that there is a some refreshment right side of the hall. So I would like to invite all of you for networking refreshment. Thank you.